so that
This
we can
conference will now be recorded.
what you say. It can and will be used against you.
Yeah.
All right, we're up to 22 people. Brian, just a couple more minutes.
Sure, take your time.
Yeah, there was about 80 people invited, Sonny.
Okay.
You know,
Sonny, how
Sonny,
come
I
I
went
can't
to
see
that
everyone?
go-to meeting. Sonny, I went to that go-to meeting,
Yeah.
but it's just showing a picture of me. It doesn't.
Not sure.
Is
You're
that
on.
Susan?
Yeah. Susan, how you doing?
Yeah. Good. How are you?
Doing great. Loving the isolation. I moved out, so I can't be around my kids. I don't want to get them sick. So no, I was kidding.
Are you kidding?
I am joking. Totally joking.
Oh my gosh.
Sonny, how come we can't see you?
I don't know. Oh, there we go.
There you are.
Can you hear me?
I went to the
Marlena
go-to
just said
meeting
she
link.
can't hear you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you,
I
Suzanne.
can hear you.
Okay, Marlena's
I went
texting.
to the go-to meeting link, but it just shows my picture.
All right, not sure.
Oh,
Go
well,
up
you're
to the
in
top where it
meeting.
says view, and you can hit view everyone.
I
She's
can't
on
see
now.
that.
She's on.
At least on mine.
1 second. Suzanne, you said something about Marlena?
She got on.
Okay, good. All right, we're up to 24.
I wish I could do the go-to meeting thing, but it's not letting me see anything.
Let me.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out because you hear us. Did you call in or
Yeah.
you?
Are
I
you
called
on-
in. I called in and I'm on the computer.
Oh.
Do you have a control panel, Susan? Is there a control panel on your computer when you are on the go-to meeting?
No.
Well,
It says, okay, I'm ready.
yeah, Susan,
I'll
you're
push okay,
on
I'm
here
ready.
right now. So we'll
That's it.
I'm
I'm
on.
on.
Oh, good job. There you are.
Hey, there she is.
Yay!
You might want to either mute your computer or turn the call off because there's some reverb coming.
I
I
got
got
it.
it. Okay. I'll
Yeah,
do
hang
it.
up the phone.
There's Susan. Hi, Susan.
Hey, who said that?
Diane.
Hi.
All right, just so you guys know for the newcomers, because we're up to 28 attendees right now, we're going to give a few more, not a few, just a couple more minutes because I'm sure there's other people that are trying to figure this out. But again, for the newcomers, this is being recorded at this point here, so just cautious what you say. So are any of you guys heading over to Lansing tomorrow for the big protest?
Hi, Sissy.
No.
You guys know what- so, do you want to say hi to everybody?
Good morning, Mike. Michael, sorry.
Elizabeth wants to say hi.
Good
Wave
morning,
hello.
Elizabeth.
Hello. Good morning.
Hi.
Hey, Marlena.
You gotta go watch your movie,
Oh.
okay?
All right, we're at 28, Brian.
Okay.
29 right now. So I think we're good if we get started. Anybody that comes late, we can always send them the recorded version of this. But guys, I wanted
Yep.
you guys to introduce Brian Welsh from CSG Actuarial. They're the ones that have created this platform, and it's something that's going to be accessible to you guys right away. We have usernames and passwords for all of you, and then it's going to be in our 4T brokerage website, which the last couple weeks I've been taking time with my marketing company and working on getting this launched. So hopefully we're about 2 more weeks out where everything will be on the agent portal, all of our quoting software, all of our forms that we need. And then they're going to create even a suggestion box. So if there's something that you guys would like to see in our agent portal, it'll be there for you guys to make a suggestion, and then we'll analyze, you know, is it cost effective, does it make sense, and things like that. So we have had CSG Actuarial on our Gurney agency website for I don't know, probably a couple of years, but it was very limited in what we could do. So this 4T brokerage dashboard that we're going to have access to is primarily going to be for products in Michigan. As you guys know, all of our national carriers are through the brokerage out of Texas. They're going to have the same platform utilized through their website, thebrokerageInc.com. However, because they're not primarily focused in Michigan, they're not going to have HAP, Priority Health, PHP, and Blue Cross and Blue Shield. So I was willing to spend the money for the software so that the Michigan agents have access to all the carriers in one place. So with that, Brian, go ahead. I'm sure you probably want us to mute our
Yeah, if you can go, everybody go ahead and mute, and I'll mute everybody before we get started, and then I'll unmute it at the end, and we can ask questions and stuff like that, if that works for you, Sunny.
Mhm.
Perfect. So again, I'll go ahead and mute everybody here, and everybody should be able to see my screen. And so again, my name's Brian Welch, and I work for a company called CSG Actuarial, and this is really going to be going in depth in terms of what the capabilities of the software are. So there could be agents on here that have used CSG in the past and are no longer and are no or have used it and want to maybe learn something a little bit more about it, or haven't used it and want to go ahead and try kind of try this out. Sunny did bring up a good point. There is a chat feature. So if you have questions as we go through this and you wanted to go ahead and send me a chat, I'll kind of go through that chat at the end of it and to answer questions. So thanks, Sunny, for bringing that up. But everybody should be able to see my screen. And essentially what this kind of goes over is this is the main dashboard page. This is the main page that you'll see when you get in, and I'm in Sunny's account right now. But from here, you can navigate to go to one of the various different product lines or electronic scope of appointment. So to start, we'll start with Medicare Supplement. And to get to Medicare Supplement, pretty simple. All you do is click Run Quote, and it's going to bring up your demographics page. And from here, you'll type in a zip code. So we'll go ahead and type in a Michigan zip code, age, gender, and tobacco status, which is what's needed to run the quote. You can also select the plan that you want to look at, whether it's F, G, N, and so forth. Effective date. Say you wanted to run a future effective date. Your individual was effective, say, June 1st or July 1st. You wanted to run a future date. That becomes important because rates could be changing in the future, and we want to make sure that we're looking at the most up-to-date rates. And then lastly, we have this household discount option. You can either apply it right at the beginning. So say your client or beneficiary is eligible for the household discount. You want to go ahead and apply it right before the quote is done. You can do so right here on the page. Lastly, I would say, is we have a client or quote label section here. This would be if you wanted to print the quote off. You wanted to email this quote to somebody. You can type in their name, and it'd be able to provide a kind of a client or quote label to that print off. So what we'll do is go ahead and press Get Quote. And what it's going to do is it's going to price this out cheapest to most expensive for all the different plans in Michigan. And so this will allow you to kind of get a full market view of exactly what the Michigan landscape would be for the 65-year-old female non-tobacco Plan G in 48004. Here's our basic company box. And what this is going to do is a number of different things. It's going to give you the price per month, obviously, in the company name, parent company, AM Best and S&P ratings, rating classes, rate type, effective date, years in the market. We have some basic company level information here. We will also display a household discount or policy fee. And you can notice here, you'll start to see this show up. If there's not a policy fee or not a household discount, you'll see it will be blank. You can see here for this Humana plan, there is no policy fee, but there is a household discount. And for Philadelphia American, there's both. So we kind of give you an idea of what will be attached to that rate. We don't include that policy fee in the rate because it's a one-time fee. So that fee is not included in that monthly price. Below that, we have two different separate buttons. One is the plan details, and this simply breaks down or provides all the different benefits associated with these plans. So we'll give you the services, what Medicare pays, what this plan or Plan G pays, and then what you or the beneficiary will pay. And so this kind of gives you a breakdown of the benefits associated with these plans. Again, regardless of the company you click on, this will be the same. If you were to switch plans, say I were to go from G to N, this would obviously update accordingly. We also have the Carrier Resources button here. This is where B, if you want to go ahead and direct yourself to where you can log in to submit an app. You wanted to pull forms. You wanted to be able to see your commission streams, what have you. You can click that Carrier Resources button to direct you to where you need to go to do that. And we direct you right where the carrier has their agent page on their site, so you can authenticate and go in. And so that's what the Carrier Resources button does. And overall, that's what we call our main company box here. Up above, we have our quick quote section. So rather than having to click back and forth, if you'd rather just make your age adjustment here, you wanted to switch different plans, you wanted to look at a different zip code, you don't have to go back to the previous screen to do that. If you would rather start fresh and new, there's a new button up here in the top right-hand corner. This will allow you to start fresh and just start from the very beginning. On the left-hand side here, we have a number of options. The first is going to be compare quotes. And this would be if you wanted to compare a handful of these plans side by side. So let's say I wanted to take this United Healthcare plan, Health Alliance Plan of Michigan, this Humana plan. All I have to do is click the company name, and they turn green. I can then come over here and click compare quotes, and it's going to load me in a screen that's just going to include those three plans. So here it is. I've now sectioned off a particular group of plans that now allows me to either print this off using this blueprint button or export this to PDF of just these three plans. And so this just allows you to kind of narrow down your results associated with what your beneficiary may be interested in. Go back here, and to go back, you just click the back button here up in the right-hand corner, and allows you to go back to the previous page. And to deselect options, you can simply just unselect the button here, and they go back to the previous screen that you were just on. Below that, we have our export features. The first is going to be a blueprint button. This simply just allows you to print the options associated right here on the screen. We have our red PDF button that allows you to export to PDF. Say you wanted to attach this to an email, or you wanted to save this to your computer. You can do so by clicking that PDF export. And then for our data-centric agents, if you want to dump this into Excel, you can do so by clicking that green Excel feature button there that allows you to kind of export this into an Excel document and kind of dump that into kind of raw data, so to speak. The next options here are just your view. The first is going to be expanded and contracted quote. Say you wanted to show a simpler view to your beneficiary. You didn't want to kind of show some of the other jargon. You didn't want to confuse your beneficiary. You can click this, and it's now shrunken this down to just showing the rate and the company. So it kind of shows a simpler view rather than a much more expanded view. That's what we call our expanded or contracted option. So again, if you didn't want to confuse your beneficiary, you wanted to show just the price and the company name, we do allow that simpler view option there. Apply discounts. This would be if you wanted to go ahead and apply the household discount to the rate. It will do so, and you can see the rates adjust. So you can see Health Plan Alliance or Health Alliance Plan goes to the top of the list because of their discount. You'll see here that it's recalculated the rate and it's put a star next to it. That means the applied discounts is on. If I uncheck it, it goes back to the old rates. And so the system does the math for you. You can check or uncheck the different options associated with the household discount. Third one down is annual rate. Pretty self-explanatory. If you'd rather see the annual rate versus the monthly, this simply just allows you to see a different modal option if that's what your beneficiary is interested in seeing. The fourth one down is market analytics. This essentially goes over three different options. The first is going to be attained age data. And because UnitedHealthcare is community rated, they're probably a bad example here. So I'll show this one. If it's attained age, it'll show you this box. If it's community rated or issue age, it will not show anything. And so what this is showing you is each year the insured gets older for this attained age policy, what they'll pay in future years. So if you're sitting down with your beneficiary and you're going to say, okay, with this plan, you're going to pay $113 today. But as soon as you turn 66, it's going to go up 3.5%, 67, 3.4%, 68, 3.3%, and so forth. So you're able to give them a future outlook associated with the tool. The other option here that we have is increase history, and this just shows you since 2010 what the increase history has been. Many carriers do not go back that far. They've changed papers. They changed the NAIC that they write the business on. They move around to different names. So many will not go back that far. You'll notice since 2010, some do go back, but others won't. You'll notice since that time, the date that they changed and the percent of change. So you can see here for this UnitedHealthcare plan, in 2018 they raised rates 1.8. In 19 they filed a 0% increase for Plan G in Michigan, and for 2020 for Plan G they lowered them 14%. And so this is plan and state specific, and that just gives you an indication of how they've handled their increases in the past. And the last piece here is market data. This is NAIC data. So this is the data that the companies self-report themselves, and this updates once a year. And so 2019 data, so last year, will update this month. It updates every April. The companies have until, I believe, late March to report all this information. And we're going to give you total lives insured, total earned premiums, loss ratios, and market share percentage on a state and national level. And so the reason we include all this in terms of the market analytics, the attained age data, the increased history, and the market data is really view this as a market advisor tool. It's not just a quoting tool. We don't want to just provide the price and the company. We want to be able to provide you as much information as possible. And that way, regardless of the question you get, whether they're market share questions, increased histories, household discount questions, you can begin to answer those just using the tool. You don't have to go to 10 different resources or make a guess. So that's market analytics. And the last one down here is select plans. If you are in an area or you're dealing with a company that offers a select option, they're not very popular. Most companies don't offer them, but we do have the selection on there if you rather look at Medicare select options. And the last thing I'll mention here is the health questions. And so this allows you to understand not just based upon price, but based upon their medical conditions, what option might be best for them. So say you're dealing with somebody outside their open enrollment period and they happen to have a heart attack. Well, you can scroll through here, select heart attack. It then provides the look back period. And so you can see here, if UnitedHealthcare, the criteria of heart attack, the look back period is 2 years, meaning if they have a heart attack within the last 2 years, they would have to answer yes on the app. That would likely decline that individual's coverage. If they had a heart attack 8 years ago, they could answer no and continue on with filling out the application. So this just gives you an indication or an idea of not just the best price, but also which company would be able to actually accept your beneficiary, again, if they're outside their open enrollment or guaranteed issue period. So that's Medicare Supplement. To navigate from this page, you can do a number of different things. You can either click navigation down here at the bottom left-hand corner, and it'll allow you to go to the different product lines or sign out, or you can just hover over the top page here, and you can go to Dashboard, which is the main home page that we were just on. You can go to My Account, which allows you to edit your information like your first and last name, your password, and so forth, or to go to the different product lines. And so we'll switch over to Medicare Advantage. You're going to notice it's going to look very similar to MedSup. We try to make all the product lines work the same way. So if you can run a quote in one, you can run them in them all. You'll see here that we have the county and the city and state that is associated with that rate. It will default to Medicare Advantage, but you can also do the Part D and the special needs plans here. And so we'll default to Medicare Advantage, and you can also filter HMO, PPO, enhanced drug benefit, or no benefit. And so those are some of the different filter options. Obviously, you're not going to be selecting Plan N or G and A. Tobacco status don't matter for these plans, so we don't ask about them. But you can do some additional filtering here with Medicare Advantage. We'll go ahead and press Get Quote. Just like before, it's going to price these out cheapest to most expensive. Most of these don't have a price per month, so we're going to be ranking them by max out of pocket. You'll see here that we have max out of pocket here rather than the household discount or company. And as you scroll, the max out of pocket gets larger. We're providing you some basic company level information like we did in the previous quoting tool. Star rankings, drug deductibles, Part B to reduction, if there's a drug benefit, plan type, if it's an HMO or PPO, and then the plan and the plan ID that you have. So that's your basic company level information that we'll provide there. We also have our quick quote section here. So just like before, if you wanted to switch the plan or the filter or the age, the zip code, you can do so using that quick quote section or click new up in the right-hand corner to start fresh. Your compare quote features are still here. So if you wanted to segment off a grouping of carriers and move them to a different screen, that's still available just as it was on the previous screen or the previous quote. Your export features are still available. Blueprint button, red PDF button, or green Excel export. Your expanded to contracted view, and your annual rate versus the monthly. Just as it was in all the other tools, you'll notice that's going to become a consistent basis for all the different tools. That will not change regardless of the product line that you run. Some differences with Medicare Advantage. The first is going to be the market analytics. And this is really going to encompass two different things. One is county penetration and one is company enrollment. County penetration is going to be based upon the county that you're running, and this updates monthly. And what this is showing you is total Medicare eligibles in this county and total versus the total Medicare enrolled. Out of the total enrolled, how many enrolled in this specific plan? So out of the 16,777, 1,034 are enrolled in this exact plan. So as you scroll through the different plans, the options will change and adjust. And again, that updates monthly, and that comes directly from CMS. It also gives you an indication of just how penetrated the county is. Gives you an opportunities of saying, okay, how many are eligible and how many total enrolled? Does this county have an area of opportunity? This doesn't have rate increase histories or attained age data. So we kind of change this option here that allow to provide information for the market analytics pieces. Two of the things that are unique to Medicare Advantage. One is the Carrier Resources tab. Let me click here. This is going to give you some different information. One is the pharmacy lookup, a formulary website, and the pharmacy website. So if you wanted to be able to do a physician's lookup, a formulary, or a pharmacy website right here on the tools, you'd be able to do so. It'll direct you to where you can do that company. We are working on the ability for you to do a comparison in association with those features. So if you want to do a comparison based upon drugs, that is a feature we're working on currently, but it's not yet live. We do plan on having that live this year before AEP. So that'll be a big update to the tool. So keep a lookout for that. But in the short term, you can go to click one of these buttons by clicking that Carrier Resources button to do those types of searches. Also unique with Medicare Advantage is the plan details. Because these all vary by company, we'll give you some additional features here. And this will be basic or specific to the company. So this is where you are your co-payments, co-insurances, drug deductibles, drug tiers. All your benefits associated with these plans are going to be associated on that plan details page. So just as before, as you do different quotes, as you select on different plan details, you notice that will vary month to month, or company to company. That's Medicare Advantage. Again, to navigate away, you can just hover over the top here, and we'll switch over to final expense. Go ahead and type in the same zip code we've been using. Zip code, age, gender, and tobacco status, that's what's needed to provide an accurate quote for final expense. One thing that is unique with final expense is the face amount or the monthly rate selection. For the face amount, you can either type in or click the scroll down bar and select different options or face amounts that way. Or say your client can afford $50 per month, you can type in $50 and just run all the plans that are associated with $50 a month. So that's kind of the two options that will allow you to run it. You can't do both. You can't do $50,000 and $50 a month and $10,000. The system doesn't know how to distinguish if there's no match there. So you have to choose one or the other, which is why it will gray it out if you switch over to the other one. So we just allow you kind of those two options to run it that way. Last two things here. One is product type. We default to level benefit. You can see we have return of premium, graded benefit, single pay plans, different pay options. This will allow you to kind of make a product type selection here. Again, we'll default to level because it's most popular. Or if you'd rather just see guaranteed issue plans versus underwritten plans, you can do so by clicking that underwriting type drop down that allows you to pull back the options. So we'll go ahead and run this quote. Again, very similar to the other quotes that you've seen, but obviously for final expense, priced out cheapest to most expensive. It's going to kind of allow you to jump from product to product or system to system pretty easily. We don't want the learning curve to be drastic between each of the product lines. And so that's kind of one of the biggest things that we've tried to make the tools beneficial is to make sure that there's not a learning curve for each product. So again, very, very similar. Your company section is here, your price per month and your annual fee associated with these rates. That annual fee can be added to the rate by clicking annual fee. You notice the pricing goes up associated with the annual fee being adjusted. One thing I want to mention is if you wanted any of these buttons here on the left-hand side to default, right? You always want to default to the apply fees. You always want to default to the market analytics being on, or maybe you always want to default to a simpler quote view. You can go to this My Account button here and adjust those defaults. So that's an option there for you. If you wanted to go into My Account and be able to adjust your tool to make sure that it's populating each time the way you want it to, you can do so. And so people might have different tastes for how they'd want the defaults to be set up. A couple unique things with final expense. One is the modal factors. Quarterly and semi-annual modal factors are popular in final expense, so we do allow those options, which is different than the Medicare options we just went over. So if you wanted to select quarterly or semi-annual, you could. We also have the carrier resources button here, just as we did before. If you wanted to go ahead and submit an application, you wanted to go to that carrier's page to pull different forms or files, you could do so by clicking that carrier resources option there button. Just as the other tools, your export features, your compare features, your quick quote section is up above here, as well as your health questions. So if you are dealing with a company or a plan that does underwrite by one of these options, it's not guaranteed issue, you can make those selections there and it'll pull back the corresponding look back periods for each one of those companies. So again, very similar as the other products, but just for final expense. Switch over now to hospital indemnity and dental. These will work the exact same way. Go ahead and type in the same zip code. Zip code, age, gender, tobacco status. That's what's needed to run an accurate quote for hospital indemnity and dental. What this is going to do, it's going to price it out cheapest and most expensive, just as the other product lines, but the base level options. There is no included benefits on this. There are no riders attached to this. It is just the base level options associated with the rate. And we're not including or increasing any of the benefits amounts, at least not yet. It's giving you the base plan options and what's in the included benefits for the base option. It's giving you your quick quote section, your compare and export features, and your expanded to contracted view. What's unique with hospital indemnity and dental is the plan details button. So if you click over to plan details, this is going to bring up, just as it did for the other plans, all the benefits associated with these options. But because these options can be variable, you can begin to increase them. So you can go from $50 a day to $250 a day. My price jumped up $15.97. Maybe I want to add in a skilled nursing rider benefit. I add in $100 a day for days 21 through 100. That adds $3.37 to my premium. Maybe I want to include an ambulance benefit for $300 per occurrence. That adds $4.82. And as I scroll up to the very top, it's done the math for me, and it's now showing me the total cost of that plan, which can then be exported or printed using these PDF or print buttons here up in the right-hand corner. So the system will do the math for you. You can make the selections right on the tool, and you can build the plan that best meets your client's needs. And so that's something unique to hospital indemnity. And then what I'm about to show you is dental. Works the same way. Because these have riders or increased benefit amounts, you're able to make those selections, which is different than the other product line. So here's dental. Works the same as before. We have different options here associated with different inclusions of different plans. Click a good one to demo. Click this Mutual of Omaha plan. Again, base level option. Included benefits is the $100 deductible for $1,000 calendar year max. Click plan details. It brings you to the page with all the different benefits associated with it, as well as if I wanted to add in a vision rider, that adds $8.28 to my premium, which then adds it up to the top. It's $36.89. I can then print this off or export it to PDF, and that gives you the option to go ahead and sign up for that plan. One more thing I'm going to go over before I open it up for questions is the electronic scope of appointment. And so you do have an electronic scope of appointment here that allows you to review and send scopes within the tool. And so this is our electronic scope of appointment document. You can see you have resume or incomplete scopes, or I can start a brand new scope using this button here. And so it says scope for sales of appointment for confirmation form. I can click start document. This is all CMS compliant. I'll just put in demo for this. You name the document before you continue. Press save and continue. It then gives you all the terms and disclosures that CMS requires. Again, this is CMS compliant, so you can go ahead and use this as you see fit today. All the disclosures, all you need to do on this screen is press I agree and continue. We'll ask you 2 questions on the next page. In the same physical location as the client, you can either click yes or no. If you click no, it'll allow you to send an email signature link. So you can send this to say test@login.com. This just allows you to send the applicant an email that they validate with a code that allows them to then say they've filled out a compliant scope of appointment. So I press continue, and the next page is going to be the applicant is currently awaiting the signature. So right now, it's sent it off to that fake email or to your beneficiary where they can select and say, yes, sign the scope. That thing gets saved to your account in perpetuity. And so I'll show you what that looks like here. We'll go back to our dashboard page or our main home page here. Sorry, it switched me out on the tools. Let's go back. So what it did here is we'll put it in my document locker tool here. So what this is going to do is it's going to save it in the doc locker. So this is where it's going to save all of my completed ESOAs. You can also upload these ESOAs to the file. So if you wanted to upload this to your, if you have old ESOAs you want to be able to upload, or you have old tools that you want to be able to complete, or you have old files that you want to be able to save, you can do so here by saving these documents. You'll be able to see you have completed ESOAs here in the file that allow you, so if you ever get audited, it'll save it there automatically so that you have those documents available to you at any time. So that's kind of the newest feature that we have. That's electronic scope of appointment. A couple other things I'll mention before I open it up for questions. This is all mobile friendly. So if you wanted to do this on your iPad, you can access this anywhere you have an internet connection. If you wanted to do this on any type of tablet, or phone, you'll be able to do so. As long as you have internet connection, you can access this tool, and it'll conform to the different types of screens. The last thing I'll mention is if you ever get stuck, you have issues, you need to be able to ask a question, you're getting an error message, anything at all, there's a contact support button here up in the left-hand corner that allows you to click that contact support button and get into the ability to kind of send us a message, and that gets responded back with right away. So with that, I'll kind of open it up for questions, and anybody can ask questions, or if Sonny, if there's anything else you want me to discuss, I can do so. Let me unmute everybody here. And everybody should be unmuted. If you muted yourself, make sure you unmute yourself, and I'm open for any questions you guys may have.
So after the client receives the email for the scope of appointment, does it automatically then go to your document locker when the signature is completed?
Yes, it does. Yes, so it will automatically get saved in there, and it gets backed up every night, so you can't lose them. There were a couple questions on the chat box here. One is scope CMS compliant? It is CMS compliant. One is, does the Medicare Advantage quotes include DSNP options? And it does. You'll see here that if you click the drop down on the plan, you can go switch over to the special needs. So that's an option there, as well as the Part D options. So it does include the special needs options if you'd want to quote those. Another question was in regards to, let's see here. How does this tool differ from Medicare.gov? So in terms of Medicare Advantage, it won't differ that much, right? It's the same data. You're able to pull the same data on Medicare.gov for Medicare Advantage that you could on this tool. For MedSup, they don't really have Medicare Supplement or the other product lines, and so for those, it's not really that big of a comparison. But the ability to do the other product lines in conjunction with Medicare Advantage is really what has been the biggest importance, or what separates that as the biggest difference. Any other questions? I think I scrolled through all the chat ones that I didn't see get answered.
I was looking for Brian on the hospital indemnity.
Yep.
I noticed that the base case is one that almost nobody's going to want, and it looks like you have to go into specific carriers in order to change any of that. Is there any way to set a default of a level of coverage, or are what's offered between all of them too different to be able to say, hey, I want to see what $250 a day for 6 days looks like for all those carriers?
Sure. The hard part about doing that, and we've experimented with it, is because the benefit options vary so much by carrier. It's hard to create a standard of what we would call default base options that then allow you to filter by those results before the quote or getting into the carrier. We are working on the ability today to set just a total level of benefit price, and then we attach weights to different benefit options, and it will conform to those filtering, but that's not yet complete and probably won't be live on the tool until sometime later this year.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
So Brian, some of the questions are referring to access to this website. So all of you guys, I have the link to this, and many of you are going to have access already because we've created that username and password. Some of you, we may have to create that for you. But Brian, the password was just the quoting 1, 2, 3, 4 exclamation, correct?
Correct. That's the temporary password.
Right.
As soon as they type that in, they'll get a page that has them updated. It'll say, here, please update your password to whatever you want. At that point, they'll change their password to what they see fit.
Okay. So we'll send out the link after this webinar. Stephanie has that list of agents and those attendees today. So we'll get that list out to you. It's the username is just going to be your email, and the password is going to be quoting 1234 exclamation. And then, like Brian said, you can change your password.
Is
A
that
couple things.
Oh, real quick, it'll be the email address that you get your newsletters from. So whatever email address you get your Gurney agency newsletter from, that is the email address you'll log into. So if you use 2 different emails, be sure you're using the correct email address or you won't be able to log in.
Right.
Brian, I have a question about the SOAs that are sent out. Are all the boxes on that checked? Or do we have to go in and check boxes?
So in terms of the boxes, like in terms of the products that the person would want to discuss, the consumer would select that before they signed it, or if you're doing it in person, you can select it with the consumer.
Right. I was talking about, when we email it. So when we email it, they have to click the boxes?
Yep, correct.
Okay. All right.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's really unfortunate, because it's going to be really easy for them to forget that, not do that, unless we're literally walking them through while they're signed.
It does have instructions that they would get that outline what each one of those boxes, or the step-by-step process to complete it. So they would not be able to sign it until something was selected.
Oh, good. Okay. Very good.
Right. And then you just want to instruct your clients to initial or check box all 5 of them.
Right. Yeah. If you're on the phone with them, just tell them to do all 5. That's what I do.
Exactly.
Okay.
So getting into, I guess, COVID-19 and us being stuck mostly in our houses and not doing face-to-face meetings, have many of you purchased or got free webinars online to conduct meetings?
No.
No.
I haven't.
Okay. So
I have Zoom.
Okay.
I use Zoom.
Okay. So there's plenty of software out there, and there's free ones out there, guys. So look at GoToMeeting, GoToWebinar, Zoom, Skype. There's a bunch of different platforms out there that you guys can use. So one of the things that I've been talking with some of the agents who are calling in saying, help me, what are we supposed to do? You're limited. I mean, you've got your network of people that you can reach out to through social media. You guys can if you want to do leads, you can, do mailers. So some of the low cost options, which I've been encouraging people to do, is send me an email with a list of zip codes. And guys, I can get you thousands of people that are turning 65 and their name, their address, and their phone number. And you have a couple options. You can call them. Just got to be careful. You can't do a non-compliant presentation over the phone, but you can reach out to them and invite them to a webinar. So you can create your own webinar, create your own link. And if you call, I've got a call center that's doing it right now, but you can call somebody and say, hey, my name is Sonny with the Gurney Agency. Normally I conduct Medicare 101s at community centers and libraries. However, blah, blah, blah. I'd like to invite you to a webinar I've got going this Friday. Are you interested? And obviously there's a little bit more to that. And I've created a phone script that I can give you guys access to, but just calling these people. So if you've got nothing else to do and you really can't, leave your house other than for walking and essential stuff, why not just get the phone out and start calling through, give yourself a goal, 25, 50, 100, 200 calls a day, just inviting people to a webinar. And if you're not tech savvy and you don't want to do your own webinar, I've started creating my own where I've got some of our agents are inviting people to join my webinar. Now, my webinar is going to be branded the Gurney Agency. So for those of you who have your own agency, you either have to explain the relationship or set up your own. But you guys call through this list of people. What else you got to do? If you get 3 people out of a couple hundred phone calls and you sell one of them, you just made $500. There's so many people that are filing unemployment to try to get $500-600 a week, where if you just worked and made a lot of phone calls, there's money to be made out there. You just have to work a little differently. So you can set up your own webinar. You can invite them to my webinar. I can give you guys the link for that. You can also send letters out to these people. I've created a letter. Again, it's Gurney branded, but we can always change that where it just says, you can set up a one-on-one phone call, or you can invite them to a webinar. That's a little more costly because you're looking at 55 cents per stamp plus the cost of printing and envelopes. But, again, if you send out 100 letters and it costs you $60 and you make one sale off of that at $500, it's profitable. If you send out 500 letters and the cost is $300 and you make one sale off of that, it's still profitable. So other than that, it's not like you can go and door knock people. It's not like you can meet people at McDonald's anymore. It's, you got to find creative ways. And this is some of the stuff that we're trying in-house. Like I said, I've got a call center. I'm still waiting to get the data from them. Yesterday, I think they made phone calls for 3 hours and they only booked 2 people. So it's not like it's going to be, I'm not expecting to get 20 sales a week off of this, but I'm trying to generate some activity for some of our internal agents. So any questions on that?
Just what do we need to do if we want to get involved in setting up with that, either doing a mailer or getting a list?
Send me an email. Send me an email and just request a list of people turning 65. Give me your zip codes and I'll get the list created for you. And I'll just attach a link to the days that I'm doing a webinar this Friday morning and Saturday morning. So I'll send you those links if you want to, utilize my webinar, and I'll also attach a copy of the letter and the phone script that we're using.
Sunny, it's here. Actually, I took that list of names that you gave me, and I sent out 314 letters.
Wow.
With that. Yep. So I haven't heard back. Yeah, I just finished it 2 days ago. And but as far as your webinar, I have 4 people that I have contacted who will be signing on for your webinar.
Okay, great. And was that done by phone calls or just those letters, or?
No, that was phone calls to leads that I had.
Okay.
That people that asked me to contact them later because their birthdays were out, but I did call them and said that you were having a webinar and that if they were available, they could go on there and get some additional information.
Okay, great. Yeah, so one of the things I'm playing with too is I'm working with a lead vendor who's created a postcard. Basically, it's a postcard saying, yes, I'm interested in a webinar and learning more information. So we're going to send out about 8,000 pieces just to see what type of response we get. So they're going to they'll send that back with their email and phone number, and then we'll have agents that'll call on them and invite them to our webinar. So again, everything is kind of new. We're trying some different things, and we'll keep you guys updated as far as the results that we're getting from it. But I've always talked about there's 2 ways that you can make money in advertising. It's either spending time or spending money, and I'm going to try to do a little bit of both here and then let you guys know how that works so you guys can start implementing some of that in your own processes.
Are you going to give us the access for the webinar, like if we wanted to get on and just watch it ourselves the first time?
Yeah, absolutely. Just email me. I'll send you the link for the webinar so you guys can watch that. And I'll probably record my webinars, so eventually, instead of having to do it live every time, I'll just do it pre-recorded and then answer questions at the end of it. But yeah, watch it. Ask me to send you the recording and then practice it, because obviously, when I did my seminars at the Troy Community Center, if I was the one speaking for 45 minutes or an hour, the audience is buying into me. So typically what happens is they want to do business with me, not with the 3 other agents that are sitting in the room who I'm promoting throughout the presentation. So the same thing could happen, when we do a webinar, like, well, why would I not want to work with you? Why would I want to work with your agents? Whereas one of the things that I'll be doing in my webinar is I'll be mentioning that we've got a number of our agents. We've got 100 agents in Michigan. If you've been invited by one of your agents, they're on the webinar with us, watching and ready to answer your questions. And then if you invite somebody to one of our webinars, you're going to want to follow up with them the next day or later that day and just answer their questions. So good question.
Hey, Sunny, if we would like to run our own webinars, are
Yep.
you willing to share your presentation materials and let us use and rebrand them, or do we need to recreate that on our own?
No, I'll send you what I've created. You guys can use that, rebrand it, however you want to do it.
Wonderful.
Okay, excellent. What do you have it in? Is it like PowerPoint or something similar?
Yep, PowerPoint.
Great. Thank you.
You're welcome. And I recognize the voice, but who is that?
That's Michael Sullivan in Lansing.
That's right. Thank you, Michael. Any other question, guys? Melinda, your lips are moving, but I don't hear you. No, your microphone's not working. Can you use the text?
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, so I did put my question in the text box. It was about when you're using this quoting platform, all of the mess with, Medicare.gov redoing their platform this year and all of the, craziness that ensued that they finally then fixed is still missing, it would seem, from this tool. And that's the ability to look at side-by-side comparison of prescription costs ranked priced lowest to highest, including the cost of the prescriptions plus the cost of the premium of the plan. So it doesn't look like we can do that with this tool unless I'm wrong.
So to answer that question, you'll be able to see the cost of the plan. So you'll be able to see the cost of a Part D plan, and you'll be able to see the drug tiers associated with the benefits of an MAPD or a Part D. But you are correct. At this point, you can't do a formulary comparison associated with the drugs of your client. However, we are working on a CRM component to this tool that allow you to do two different things. One is to save drugs and health conditions as a part of this tool. So if you wanted to save a line item for a particular client of these drugs and these health conditions within the tool, you can. And secondly, be able to use those drugs or health conditions to do a comparison of drug plans or MA plans. That right now is scheduled to go live in July. And so we wanted to have it out there well before EEP to allow people to get used to it before they would start using it for real in October. And so that should be upcoming here. That would suffice what you're talking about in terms of the formulary comparison.
And that would apply to this version that we're doing with Sunny here as well.
That's correct. Yes, it will be available on that tool. We'll make it well aware when it's out there and how to access this and how to do it. We can do another webinar at that time as well to go over that and if there's any questions.
And that'll show what each company. I'm sorry. Will that?
No,
that'll
go ahead.
show what that'll show what each company thinks of, calls the quote full retail cost, which varies by insurance company.
That's correct. Yeah.
That's the biggest piece of information that I get from that Medicare Plan Finder and some other more tools.
Yep, makes sense.
Yeah, guys, I've looked at a couple other quoting softwares, and as far as giving you the cost of the drugs and the premiums for the year, none other company does it. I think it's just difficult, or it could be a liability if the information is incorrect. But so if you're going to be quoting for a prescription drug plan or want to know the cost, you're still going to have to go to Medicare.gov and get that information.
Okay.
Will it ever have access to?
Will we ever be able to have
the drug and the cost of the plan access like there is on Medicare.gov?
Yeah, so that was similar to what I was saying before. In terms of the total cost of the real cost of the plan or the drug tiers, the formulary comparisons rather than just a formulary search, that's currently being worked on. Anything else?
Nope, I'm good.
Perfect.
Well,
Sonny,
thank you, Brian.
anything else you wanted to end on?
No, guys, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. Not all at once, but if you need a list or you want any of our materials, just send me an email. We'll get that over to you. All right.
Well, I
Thanks,
appreciate your
everyone,
time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Brian.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye,
you.
Elizabeth.
Are you gonna wave bye?